Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has called for a reduction of U.S. troops in Europe, arguing that some allies, quote, don't understand the threat from Iran. Now, his comments come as President Trump escalates rhetoric about potentially withdrawing from NATO, and the UN prepares a vote on securing the Strait of Hormuz, and intelligence reports suggest Iran retains significant missile capabilities. And joining us now is Małgorzata Zawadka, former Polish media correspondent in the United States. Good to have you with us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, you have experience in the United States. Perhaps let's just start exactly with this. The United States, Lindsey Graham, the senator there, very much someone who supports Trump, saying that he would like to reduce troops. The Europeans, I'm quoting here, don't understand the threat. It's not our war, it's not our concern. That means they don't understand what the world looks like. So first of all, just what's your impression of that and what's behind this narrative?
With Lindsey Graham, I would say he should know better. He is old enough to know what does it mean if you have a war in Europe. He is old enough to know what does it mean Putin imperial thoughts. And he is old enough to remember his best friend, Senator McCain, who used to be his mentor. The moment Senator McCain died, Lindsey Graham experienced a strange change, and he became, from the critic, he became a largest supporter of Donald Trump. So I think right now he just says whatever Donald Trump expects him to say. And we know that Trump administration is in a big trouble. And of course, the fact that Europe did not stand behind American administration did not help, and it's an opposite. They are closing their skies and their military bases. It's a huge shock for Americans. It is, honestly. They feel abandoned, they feel cheated probably, and they are very, very unhappy with Europe right now.
But at the same time, it's interesting you point that out, because some of those administration officials, like Marco Rubio, for instance, Secretary of State, has said exactly this. Is like, why is Europe not there for us? In what we've also heard the last couple of days, the paper tiger of NATO, that's what Donald Trump said. I want to get out of NATO, that's what Trump said as well. How serious is all that? Given what you've just said, is this another next level of a crisis in NATO with the U.S.?
Well, as Polish Foreign Minister Mr. Sikorski said yesterday, that he would be very worried if it wasn't that Donald Trump also said that he wants to access Canada and invade Greenland. So it could be very serious, because however, there is a resolution that bans, the decision. Trump cannot decide by himself to leave NATO, and Marco Rubio was one of the senators behind this decision. However, what's really the biggest threat right now is just undermining the stability of the alliance. You should never say it. You know, this is just if you stop believing in alliance, if you stop believing in the power of NATO, which is the most successful alliance in the history of the world, actually, you just work for Vladimir Putin, and that's the saddest part. Mm-hmm. And of course, with Donald Trump right now, he's on a really strange role. We don't know what's going on with him. He never liked NATO, probably because he did not grasp why NATO is so important. And he still, this is like also Sikorski said yesterday, that Trump speaks about NATO the way Polish right-wing people speak about European Union, that this is some outside institution where NATO is America, right? It's part of America. Mm. And also in the world of, China, Russia, especially China, losing Europe as a best ally is just plainly stupid for America. So, we don't know. We seriously don't know. Everything might happen, but everything that Trump says right now works, undermines this is just, the concept. The alliance is the concept. The moment you start undermining the concept, it's just not so important anymore.
But as you said, undermining it, and that's happened for a few crises we've had in the last months, right? So it's just another level of that. I also want to kind of look at the breadth of this whole week. We've had quite a week with a lot of things happening. I want to share with you just an ex-post of Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and just get your perspective. So I'm just quoting here: the threat of NATO's breakup, easing sanctions on Russia, a massive energy crisis in Europe, halting aid for Ukraine and blocking the loan for Kyiv by Orban. It all looks like Putin's dream plan. So how do you see it?
No, yes, of course, that's how it is. And the whole Donald Trump presidency looks like a Putin dreams plan. Of course, we know that Putin really wanted Donald Trump to win the first time. If it wasn't for Facebook, probably, and targeting messages, probably he would not have so much chance. He might not have been a president. So Putin, we still don't know what really Putin has on Trump. I've been observing Trump all my adult life as a journalist, and I also always found him as this authoritarian figure, this someone who never had a real experience in real life because he was running his own family business, and someone who really always felt like he's somehow off from the outside. He was never in a true elite. He was never, he was never the best kid in his school. He was never intelligent enough, although he's very smart to be in this liberal democracy, Hillary Clinton-like elite of people who graduated from highest universities. So he was always this kind of a rebel, and I think that he really sees Putin as his soulmate, soul friend in America, in the world. First of all, because he always respects strong people, strong guys. Putin is also hated and in his world kind of misunderstood. And what also, it's obvious that Trump really respects only those who are stronger than him. And as long as Putin does not really cave to whatever Trump wants, he's, becoming this person who Trump respects. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate for this whole, great nation that America is. So.
Interesting thing you point that out. I mean, it's the first time we've looked at how this is Trump perceiving the world, but it continues to be erratic. But at the same time, kind of blending back into Iran, which we're focused on a lot now these days. I want to get your sense, because, I mean, you are in the United States, also covering the U.S., but also I want to talk about the United Nations in New York. There is a UN Security Council meeting. It's set to vote on Friday about an interesting proposition here. So it's a Bahraini proposal. Now, these are the temporary presidents of this. And I just want to get your sense. Do you sense here that they would, I mean, just the fact that they're authorizing, they want to authorize force against Iran, do you see this at all changing the calculus at all here in terms of politics?
It might kind of make Donald Trump like them a little bit more. Although United Nations lost Donald Trump respect a long time ago, and it kind of lost mine when they did not kick out Russia out of the United States. So, of course, what I'm, it's just every institution that was set up after the Second War and actually is still strong is good enough to go through reforms and be respected, because it's very hard to actually have an institution. What we see right now in Iran, people in Iran are against their own government. However, they are not organized. And it's the same with, so we should really respect our European and transatlantic institutions. So it's probably, yes, whatever they do, it's better than if they do nothing. And they should be more organized, I say.
Okay. Back to what you said about Donald Trump respecting strength. Have you looked at his, we mentioned that dream plan of Putin's, really, by the Prime Minister.
It is.
But on that subject as well, Ukraine is pivotal here as well, also to Europe's security. Arms deliveries have been talked about. There have been things in the FT saying that, well, potentially the United States could not deliver on some of those things. What do you think the future holds in terms of arms deliveries? Will they be disrupted? What about support for Ukraine from the United States?
Well, we know that Donald Trump doesn't like Zelensky. It is probably one of the reasons that he never really, his heart was never in helping Ukraine. He was doing this just because he was expected to. And right now, I feel very sorry for Ukraine. What happened, it's extremely unfortunate. We don't know if it was some secret plan between Putin and Trump in Alaska, or maybe in Helsinki in 2017, or when he said that he believes Putin more than FBI. We don't know. I probably think it's not. It's just Trump doing, acting on his emotions. But what's going on right now is very unfortunate for Ukraine. It's heartbreaking, actually. The only thing is that Trump really, the unfortunate truth is that Ukraine is not very important if it comes to American security. And it's also the heartbreaking truth. That's why also there was never so much heart in it. So that's why, I hope that Europe will stood up to their own saying, the rearm defense, the white page of European, they say that by 2030 we will have our own defense system. So let's hope they will deliver. However, it sounds grim for Ukraine.
But I don't want to be grim. I want to be optimistic in some way. This virtual meeting, 40 countries. You mentioned the Europeans have to stand up for themselves. But generally, Europe, what will this look like in a week, 2 weeks' time? Will Europe have a different position?
Yeah, they always say that, the only good that comes of this erratic behavior is that Europe stands together. Let's hope it will be true.
All right. So with all of this, I mean, it's absolutely changing every day. As you said, it's Lindsey Graham. Interesting you pointed out the connection with McCain, a very different Republican. But
and
anyway.
We still don't know what AGI will do in few weeks.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. But at the same time, how it all shifts is something we'll keep watching. Look, thanks so much for coming. A really interesting perspective, for sharing that all with us. That was Małgorzata Zawadka, former Polish media correspondent in the United States. Thank you so much.
Happy Easter.
Thank you.
And a good holiday.
Likewise. And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.